So today I invited my friend and a colleague. He's Dr. Patu. He's from DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa. He's a medical doctor, and he's currently working as assistant professor also in my department of global health and social epidemiology. And he's also a research resident for the Japanese Foundation for AIDS Prevention. Yes. So I asked him to give a talk today about the urinary system. I've been asking him from the beginning to give this lecture so that he refreshes a little bit his memory about medicine.
Thank you.
He's very kind to do it every year. But first, 2 minutes just to give you back your quizzes. Quiz 3 was much better than quiz 2. But please keep in mind to keep studying for the final exam, okay?
Thank you.
Don't get demoralized about the grades. Kaori-san, right? Okay. As I said, we only have one more quiz, so it's not today. So obviously, you know when it's going to be. Please study. After the last quiz, I will give you the pool of questions so that you can study for the final exam. But don't wait until that moment, okay? Because it's a lot of things to cover. Really a lot of things. So start reviewing. Just when you have time, read your handouts. It's all about memory, pretty much. And good luck for the final exam, okay? Final exam will have some questions like the quizzes to write. So practice, especially the new words. English could be a little bit tricky with these medical terms. Basically to explain things in your own words, and there are many questions with multiple options. Okay, so that would make it a little bit easier for you to pick a correct answer. What else? If you have any questions, just come see me if you have troubles as well. We can solve them. Don't wait until the last moment. Don't wait until seeing your final grade to appeal or to be worried if you are failing the course. Okay? So I will give the class to Dr. Patu.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. So today we're going to talk about the urinary system. I guess it's something that you already have an idea, but this is just an overview of what the urinary system is and how does it really work. So this is what we're going to look at today. We basically look at the anatomy of the urinary system. That means what is it made of, what is it composed of, and then the physiology of the urinary system, which means how does it work, how does it function. So in the physiology, we will particularly look at how the urine is manufactured, is formed, and the process of micturition or voiding. How do we empty our bladder with the urine? And one of the functions of the kidneys we're going to look at is the balance of water and electrolytes in the body. So we will try to not go really deeper, but just to have an idea of how it works. The urinary system is made of essentially with 4 organs here. The kidneys, I guess you heard about that, right? We all have kidneys, otherwise we're dead. So we have the ureters, those are long tubes, and we're going to see them. The urinary bladder, this is where the urine is kept for a while. And then urethra, this is the last part of the urinary system for which the urine is ejected outside the body. So this is a picture showing the organs of the abdomen here. You can see the kidneys are here, those being shaped like organs here. For the kidneys, we find the ureters, those long tubes that connect the kidneys to the urinary bladder, and then you have the urethra here. So when I was in the medical school, this is the kind of picture that we used to see in the books. But in reality, when I was practicing, everything is red, you know. So there is no yellow, there is no blue, you know. So everything is like red. So but this is just for you to have an idea of what's inside the body. So we're going to start with the first part, the kidneys. I came to Japan in 2009, and I was very amazed on how their country was clean. Kyoto, and you go to different other places in Japan, very clean. I was like, wow, how do they manage to keep this country so clean? Even Europe is not like that, don't talk about Africa. So it was very, very surprising fact. And I would see like very early in the morning, waste management engineers collecting waste early in the morning, working so hard, and I was like, wow, that's why the city is very clean, you know. So there are people who always want to work to collect the waste, you know. So and they keep the city, the streets, very, very clean. And so it's a very interesting fact. And what actually happens when these people are not there, what happens is that we have something like this, you know, the waste will accumulate because human activity, we produce a lot of waste, we buy things, we throw, and then it accumulates like this, you know. So for the city to be clean, for the street to be clean, we need a functional team or organism, you know, or organism that works to clean out all the waste that we are producing. And in the city, we have the waste management, you know, organs that do that. They have the transport, whatever waste we produce, it is collected, and then it is transported within this, and it is disposed somewhere at the appropriate place, you know. And if it's working, the city is clean. If it's not working, we have an accumulation of waste, right? So in the human body now, the most principal organs that clean our waste, because the human body, the way it works, we produce a lot of waste, also some kind of elements that are not important for the body that need to be put outside. And the kidneys are those organs that's really in charge when it comes to cleaning the body. You know, this is the main function of the kidneys. Secondary, we have lungs and skin. You know, through the skin also, some toxins from the body can go outside, and through the lung, through respiration, you know, we always throw outside their carbon dioxide, right? So, but today, this is our focus. We want to understand how does the kidneys really work when it comes to cleaning the body. So there are main functions of the kidneys, right? We're not going to see each one of them. This is really a specialty. So functions that like removing waste product from the blood. This is what I've talked about. Regulating their blood volume, you know, and composition, like what inside the blood. Maintaining the acid-base balance. So many other functions here, but we're not going to look at all of them, just a few of them on the way. This is a transversal section of the body. So if they cut me like this, and they look at me from upward. So this is what we have, you know. This is the back part, posterior part. This is the anterior part here. And inside here, this is what we call the peritoneal cavity. It's inside here that you see the liver, pancreas, stomach, bowels, it's inside here, right? In the peritoneal cavity. Behind there, at the posterior, we have the kidneys here. You can see them. So the kidneys are like, there are two of them, one, two, as I said, but in really rare cases, some people are born with only one kidney. So if it works well, it's okay. It's gonna live like any other person. But normally we have two kidneys. They are here. They have the shape of the bean, like a bean shape, a little bit dark red, and they're lying against the dorsal body here of the wall. And as you can see, when you look at the back, they are also a little bit protected by the lower parts of their rib cage here. So this is from the anatomy perspectives where you see the kidneys, where the kidneys are. They are not in the back, but it's in the retroperitoneal position, as they say. So when we slice one kidney, this is what we found, this kind of structure. So when you slice the kidney, so it has essentially three parts here. The outer parts, the most external parts, this is what we call cortex, the cortex, so the kidney cortex, or the renal cortex here. This is the most outer part. And just after the cortex, you have this area here, a little bit dark red, and it's called renal medulla. Medulla is a Latin word meaning middle, something in the middle, medulla. So this is a little bit like the middle of the kidney here, medulla, right? And anytime you see the terms renal, it means something that is connected to the kidney. Renal cortex, the cortex of the kidney, renal medulla, the medulla of the kidney. And we have the pelvis here. The pelvis is this area that just follows the medulla here. And you see main structures like arterioles and veins over there. So this is what we have when you slice the kidney. This is just the same thing, but this is one real kidney that is dry. Maybe they were doing some kind of analysis of that. You can see the outer part here we talked about, the cortex, the middle here, the medulla, and the pelvis here, which is composed of some structures that they call the calyx here. And in the other picture, what you see is a network of vessels coming inside their kidney, the blue one, and going outside the kidney. I mean, the red one going inside and the blue one coming outside. So a system of veins and arterioles here. So it runs all around the kidney. So you can see the kidney as a kind of a filtering machine where blood comes inside here and it is clean. And then when the blood is clean, it goes outside and it goes back to the system. So the kidney keeps on cleaning every second. Our blood is clean. Whenever it goes inside the kidney, it's clean and then go outside the system. And this is continuous work of the kidney. These are some information about the size of the kidney. It's generally 12 centimeter long, 6 centimeter wide, and 3 centimeter thick. This is just general characteristics that you don't need to keep that. Not very important for you. I was talking about this network of vessels that goes inside and then that comes outside. So this is a more detailed system explaining how it works. So it starts with the renal artery. This is the big one here in red, which goes inside. And as it goes inside, it takes different names depending on which parts of the kidney it reaches, and up to the point it reaches the very smallest one, what we call afferent arteriole. This is what we should keep from now. And then glomerulus, very important, and efferent arteriole when it's going outside. So this is very important here, and this is what you need to keep for the time being here. So how does the kidney really work? You've seen how it looks like, you've seen different parts of the kidneys, but how does it really work? To understand how the kidney works, you need to study what we call nephrons. Nephrons are the functional units of the kidneys. So this is what makes the kidney works, the nephrons. And one kidney contains around 1 million nephrons. So you see it's really a lot of them there, just in one kidney. So if we have 2 kidneys, we have around 2 million nephrons. And it's at the nephrons level that the blood is cleaned. So it's this very tiny elements that cleans the body. So this is what we're going to try to see how it works. So when you look at nephrons, we found that a nephron is made of 2 essential parts: the renal corpuscle and the renal tubule. Right? The renal corpuscle is also made of 2 parts here. One is called glomerulus. Remember, I will go just back a little bit. You see here, I told you that we have the glomerulus here, right? Here, the systems here of arterial, afferent arteriole, glomerulus, efferent arteriole. So this is really important. So we have the glomerulus and lots of capillaries, and we have what they call the Bowman's capsule. Sometimes they also call it glomerular capsule. So these 2 elements here form the renal corpuscle. And then the renal tubule. Tubules are just like tubes, right? They're like channels where the urine is kind of a transfer, right? Or the field tract is kind of transfer. And depending on the position, they have different names, like the proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule. And we have one big one they call the collecting duct, but we're gonna see that in a picture. It's more easy to understand. So this is generally this is what they call a nephron. So as you can see here, we talked about 2 parts: the renal corpuscle, right? So the renal corpuscle is here. You can see the glomerulus here. This part here is what we call the glomerular capsule or Bowman's capsule. It's this here. And then from here you have tubes that goes like this. The tubes, right? Different tubes here. And the tubes comes here to connects to this very big tube collecting that. So the tubes have different names. When it goes out from the glomerulus, it's called proximal convoluted tubule here, PCT. And then it comes down and up. This is the loop of Henle. It's like a loop. That's why the loop of Henle. And then it gives to the distal convoluted tubule. This is proximal because it's near the renal corpuscle. Distal because it's far from the renal corpuscle. And then they're collecting that. So this is basically the nephron. And as you remember, the blood comes inside through afferent arteriole and it goes outside through efferent arteriole. So as I say, just keep in mind that it's the nephron is this tiny element where the blood is cleaned, the very small structure where the blood is really cleaned, and it's made of two big parts, the glomerulus, corpuscle, and the renal tubules, different tubes that connect the filtrates. This is a more bigger, zoom picture of renal corpuscle, right? Whenever you see a renal corpuscle, just look at this one first. Blood goes in, afferent arteriole, blood comes out, efferent arteriole. So flow in, flow out. And then you have the glomerulus here, and you have this around the glomerulus, you have the Bowman's capsule. So when blood goes inside, it's cleaned. Some of the parts comes in this space here. I call it the Bowman space here. And then it goes in the tubes. And some parts of the blood continues. The other goes there. So this is the renal corpuscle. This is another picture where you can see very clearly the renal tubules here. You see, this is the first tubule we call the PCT, proximal convoluted tube here. And it goes down and up, loop of Henle, that's the loop. From the loop, we have the distal convoluted tubules here, and it goes in the collecting that. So here you have the renal cortex, remember, the outer parts, and the renal medulla, the middle part of the kidney. So this is a very good illustration of the nephrons as well. So now you're very familiar to the picture. Whenever you see this picture, even close your eyes, you open, you know that this is the nephron. Okay. So now, how does it work? We will see some process from now on. So when the blood comes here, I say the glomerulus are like filters. They're going to clean the body. When the blood comes here, some parts of the blood or the plasma goes here, and the blood is kind of clean, and the other part continues and goes outside. So the glomerulus are filtering here, are filtering it continuously here. This process, they call it glomerular filtration. Filtration because it's filtering. So it means that water and other solids that are smaller than proteins will pass through here. The proteins normally cannot pass because the proteins are big, So here only very tiny elements can pass. And also the blood cell is big, so the blood cell cannot pass here. So only tiny elements and water can pass here, and some ions here. So this is the first process of glomerular filtration. Here, we still don't have the urine. Some people make a confusion. They think that when it filters here, the water we have here is the urine. No, this is not the urine. They call it filtrate. The urine is formed later after we finish all the three process. Then we have the urine. But from here, we still have what we call the filtrate of the blood. Yeah. So not yet the urine. So when the filtrate comes here, many of their elements, ions in the filtrates are very important for the body, right? So what the body does, the body takes them back to the blood because we need them. So many elements here like glucoses, ions need to be brought back in the system. So this process of taking back this element is called tubular reabsorption. So we have water, glucose, some amino acids here, and ions are transported back in their blood system here because we don't want to lose them here. Even if they were filtered, they have to go back here. This is very important to understand tubular reabsorption. And some of the elements were not filtered. They could continue the way. But the body doesn't need them. So the body, what it does, those elements that were not filtered here needs to be sent to the urinary system because we don't need them. And this process of sending out this element is called tubular secretion. Generally, it's about the hydrogen, the potassium, creatinine, and some drugs actually. When we take some medicines, sometimes they are not filtered here, and the medicine is sent back to the urine because you don't need them anymore. So you can see here that when your kidneys don't work well, if you take some drugs, the drugs cannot be sent back. So it means that the drug will continue to stay in your body like a poison, and it can kill you for some dangerous drugs. So many of the drugs that we take day in, day out needs to be put outside when it's being used, right? So if the kidney doesn't work, the drug can become dangerous. So that's why sometimes people who have problems with the kidney, the doctor will change the dose of the drug. Say, oh, your kidneys are working well, so I need to decrease the dose because if you give the same, many drugs will stay in the blood and it becomes dangerous. So because some of the drugs have to be sent back here. So these three processes from the glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion, after it is done, what we have here is now what we can call urine. So the urine is the process of cleaning the blood through glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, and tubular secretion. Before this process, everything we have here, it's a filtrate. Okay, this is the take-home message. You don't really need to understand all that, but this is just showing you that what happens at different parts of the tubules here, different elements are taken out from different parts. Like the first parts here, they're called the proximal convoluted tubules. Most of the reabsorptions happen here. Most of them. right here. Even some tribes and poisons right here. And then you have the loop of inlet. Some of the activities continues here, like water needs to be taken back, chloride sodium here. And then at the distal tube also it continues up to here. And then you have the urine. So throughout the process, we're gonna have an exchange of elements outside the urinary system coming in up to the points that we have the urine. But you really don't have to go into details knowing which of which. Let's try to understand just the general idea and keep in mind that we have three processes: reabsorption, filtration, reabsorption, and separation.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Are proteins
Yeah.
not excluded?
Yeah, because proteins are big, like albumin, for example.
Yeah.
Normally, protein cannot pass. That's why when you have proteins in the urine, the doctor can suspect a problem with your kidney.
Oh.
When you have blood in the urine, the doctor wants to know where the blood comes from. We cannot have cell blood in the urine. Normally, we cannot also have proteins like albumin, in the urine because they are larger molecules that cannot pass. So whenever you see that, then you start suspecting something may be wrong with the kidneys or not. So if it's not the kidney, you go down the ureter. So, but you cannot generally have proteins. Yeah.
So when you have protein which is not need for our body, so how?
Proteins generally are broken down into amino acids. They are broken down into amino acids, and through amino acids they can get out little particles, but not like proteins there, but like amino acids broken down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if you have any question, you just talk me like him and you ask. Yeah, the kidneys are very interesting organs, very small, but it can put the whole body in trouble if it's not working well. As you can see, that is really the cleansing part of the body. So actually, this is what we were talking about, that blood cells cannot pass, through the capillaries, the filtration, and generally the process is passive, but we also have active process. But in the glomerular, the filtration is generally passive because the blood pressure is very, very strong, and then it push some filtrates to go outside. Yeah, here we say the filtrate contain everything like glucose, water, and some other important ions, but except the proteins because it's large, Normally, a good kidney cannot let the protein outside. Okay, this is just a very short video. I will try to play it, showing you how the glomerular filtration works. Maybe it's 1 minute, okay? Let's follow.
Filtration is the first of three main processes in urine formation. Blood flowing from the glomerulus exerts pressure, and this glomerular blood pressure is high enough to push water and dissolved substances out of the glomerulus and into the Bowman's capsule. This fluid then becomes known as the glomerular filtrate. The wall of the glomerulus contains pores and is similar to a strainer. The diameter of the pores determines which substances flow through and which remain. The only blood constituents that do not move into Bowman's capsule are the larger molecules such as blood cells and most plasma proteins, which exit the efferent arteriole. To summarize filtration, glomerular blood pressure causes filtration through the glomerular capsular membrane to create the glomerular filtrate.
Okay, so as you can see, when the blood counts, it's through the pressure, it filtrates. That's the cell blood will continue to the way, and the protein will continue, but only small particles and water is filtrated. Okay. So we already seen most of that. This is a tubular reabsorption. What's happened here? So what is reabsorbed is water, glucose, amino acids, ions. As I told you, after the filtration, some important elements need to go back in the system. We still need them. So the body takes them back. So it takes back all this. And also, most of the process of taking back this element here is a negative process. So maybe you're gonna see it later, I don't know, maybe in another lecture about ATP. So it requires an active process like going against the gradients. And as I say, most of the reabsorption occurs in the proximal convoluted tubules. Right here, it's where most of the reabsorption occurs. And then if you go along the tubules, some of the reabsorption continues until you have the urine. So, what are the wastes that we need to take outside? Those things can kill you if you keep them in your body. Like the urea. The urea is it comes from the metabolism of proteins in the liver. Whatever protein that we eat, it's at the end of the day we produce this substance called urea from the liver, and this one needs to be it's a waste. We need to put it outside. If you keep it longer in the body, then there is a problem. The other one is the uric acid. The uric acid comes from nucleic acids metabolism. We have the creatinine. This comes from the muscles activity. Actually, this one here, the doctor will ask it if you want to know if your kidneys are working well. They ask you this lab test. If this is high, it means that there is a problem with your kidney. So they also ask you this one, urea. So if the level of urea or creatinine is high in the blood than in a normal person, then they start suspecting that maybe you have a problem with the kidney, because normally the body should take them outside and it should be at a very low level, right? And urea has a very specific smell. So if you go to a service where they take care of people who have kidney problems, you go inside the room, you smell something. You just know that this is kidney problems. You just smell it. It's so characteristic. It's the urea. And sometimes doctor will tell you, oh, you have a problem with this. It's just that because of the smell, they will pretend it's very smart. But
it's like, it smells like ammonia or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So once you smell that in your life, you never forget. Okay, so. And sometimes we need to also put outside excess water and ions. Water is important, but you don't need too much water in your body, right? Sometimes if there's too much water, the body needs to take it outside. I talked about tubular secretion. Those are things that need to come back to the system, but we already know how it works, so we can go to another video here. In this video, it's kind of giving you an overview of what we have seen so far before moving to the next step.
Urine is formed by three processes in the nephron, the functional part of the kidney. In glomerular filtration, the glomerulus filters water and certain cell substances from the plasma of the blood. This results in increased blood pressure, which forces the plasma-like fluid from the blood into Bowman's capsule and then into the tubules. The fluid or filtrate include many positive and negative ions of many elements. The filtrate does not have any proteins or red blood cells, which are too large to pass through the capillary membrane. In tubular reabsorption, substances are transported out of the tubules and back into the blood of the peritubular capillaries. Reabsorption takes place in the proximal tubule, loop of Henle, and distal tubule. The major part of reabsorption occurs in the proximal tubule. About 15% of water is reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. The process is regulated by the hormones vasopressin and aldosterone. In tubular secretion, substances move from the plasma in the peritubular capillaries back into the filtrate in the renal tubules. The proximal tubule secretes creatinine and histamine, and the distal tubule and collecting duct secrete potassium into the filtrate. All the tubules actively secrete hydrogen ions to regulate the pH of the body fluids. The filtrate is now urine. Urine is about 95% water with a balanced urea, uric acid, amino acids, and electrolytes. The daily production is about 0.6 to 2.5 liters per day. Urine production below 30 milliliters per hour indicates possible kidney failure.
So now you are a specialist of urine, right? Not yet. So it's amazing that in 24 hours, the quantity of blood that the kidney filters is around 150 to 180 liters. So this is a very amazing job. Like, it's continuously work and filtrates, without stopping. And this would be like a quantity of water that you have in your bathtub put there, and this is what the kidneys do every day. And if it doesn't do it, then you're in trouble. So, and see the quantity of urine. This is, let's say, we produce around 1 to 1.8 liters. Sometimes they say of urine per 24 hour. Sometimes they say 2 liters. It depends, but this is just the average. They say we can produce less than that if you don't drink a lot of water. Then you don't produce enough urine, and if you drink too much water, you produce most urine. But this is the average. And I was telling you, filtrate is different from the urine. The urine is the product at the end of all the process. But the filtrate still needs to be kind of cooked, like put more things inside, put some of the stuffs outside, so it's different from the urine. And we have a normal quantity of urine we need to produce, but some people on a daily basis that produce 2 liters, so there is a problem there. It means that the kidneys are not working well. This condition is called oliguria. Oliguria is that when you're producing between 100 to 400 milliliters per day. So you can see this is very lower compared to the average. And in some cases, some people produce less than 100 milliliter per day. This is called anuria. It's like a lack of, the A means lack of urine, right? So this condition here means kidney failure. So it means that your kidneys are not working, kidney failure. So these are the elements. It's very clinical, but it's just good to know if you hear about someone talking about oliguria or anuria, you know that there might be a problem with the kidneys over there. So these are some composition and characteristics of the normal urine. The normal urine, if they ask you what is the urine composed of, if you forget everything, just say water. And you're right, because 95% of the urine is water, right? And then you have many of their wastes inside, like the uric acid, urea, creatinine, you found them there. And all those elements, it changes actually. Like the color of the urine will change from clear to pale to deep yellow. Yellow is like when you didn't drink too much water and you have urine, it's gonna be yellow, it's highly concentrated. Pale is like when you drink a lot of water. So this is just a composition of their urine. And I talked about kidney failure, right? Kidney failure is when the urine is no longer capable of, the kidneys are no longer capable of doing the job that they're supposed to do. And people who can have kidney failures are people who suffer from diseases like hypertension or diabetes that suffer what we call chronic kidney failure. So if you have diabetes, someone has diabetes and is not controlling the sugar very well, in the long run, you might develop kidney failures because diabetes distorts the functions of the nephrons. So for diabetic people, you will see even someone has diabetes, the doctor control also kidney. So they don't ask only for sugar, but they also check their kidneys. They know that diabetes can destroy the kidney. And people have high blood pressure as well, because when the pressure is too much all the time, the glomerula, where the filtration happens, is going to be disturbed. So in the long run, it happens so slowly, slowly. That's why we talk about chronic here. It's so slowly. And then we have some cases of acute kidney failure. This happens like so fast. Someone who has an accident, break his leg, and too much blood is going outside. So this can cause acute kidney failure because he has lost too much blood. Or a kid, a baby who's doing a very bad diarrhea, losing a lot of water through diarrhea. Like if you have an epidemic of cholera, people losing a lot of water. And if it's happened rapidly, decrease of water in the body, they're gonna have acute kidney failure. The kidney stop working because why? The kidney want to keep water inside the body because it knows that you're losing water already, so it stopped working to keep water inside. So you don't have urine anymore. It reacts because it wants to save you, but at the same time, it may destroy itself. So this is how it works. Whenever you lose water rapidly, the kidney will stop working because of acute kidney failure. How do you know that? You can have oliguria, anuria, normal urine or urine coming on in small quantity. So this is the issue here. And if you see albumin in the urine, there is a problem because normally, as we said, you're not supposed to see proteins, right? So if you see that, it's a problem. And then if you see too much creatinine in your blood, it means that there is also a problem. So those are how you can notice that someone has an issue with kidney failure. Any questions so far? Yeah.
When people have diarrhea
Yeah.
and lose water, do kidney just stop working or have inflammation or?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. But depending on the infection, some infection may affect the kidneys. But here we're talking only a physiologic response of the kidneys. Just by losing water, the kidneys, what the kidneys will do, it will stop filtration. If you lose too much water, it's really not about infection or microorganism.
So you have enough water, kidney recover its function.
It depends on how fast you try to give the person water, and if you keep the condition long enough, then the acute kidney failure may not be changed, so the person may die because of that. So this is one of the reasons when people have diarrhea in an epidemic, the most important thing for them, give them water. Don't try to look at what is causing. What is causing is important to stop the epidemic, but from a clinical point of view, if I know that your diarrhea is caused by maybe salmonella, one of their microorganisms, do I give you antibiotics first, or do I give you a profusion of water? I will try to replace water first, because I know this is what is going to kill you first. But when I keep the water balance and then give the antibiotics, then I save your life. But if I give the antibiotics to kill the microbe, but I don't give you water and electrolytes, you will die. So you need to act very fast to keep the balance. So some people also may lose a lot of water through transpiration. When it's too hot, A few years ago in Europe, there was a series of very high temperature, and many old people who were over 70 years old were dying because it was too hot. And they were losing so much water through transpiration, and they're already old, and the kidneys had problems, so they died because of water loss. So keeping the water balance is very important. In any case, when someone is losing water or blood, the first important thing to do is to replace what is losing. Okay? So when the kidneys are not working anymore, two things. If they're not working, as you say, and if we cannot repair them, you give water back, but it's still not working. Or he had diabetes for so many years, he didn't know, and this disease has caused kidney problems. Now, two things. Whether you change the kidney transplantation, you need to find someone who's willing to give his kidney. If he's a brother or sister, and if he or she loves you so much, then he can give you one of their kidneys. But they have to make sure that the other kidney he has works well, right? Otherwise, he's also in trouble, okay? Or they need to find someone else somewhere who give, organs donor, and they need to make sure that you have a matching blood, matching antigen, because sometimes if they give you a kidney and it's not matching, your body can reject that. So, but keep in mind, kidney transplantation, but very expensive, and even if you reach, maybe we don't have any kidney to give you, no donor or no kidney that much your profile, right? Genetic profile. Then dialysis. Dialysis means it's just like cleaning the blood through a different way because the kidney cannot work. How can we make something that works like a kidney to clean your body? So this is what they call dialysis. We have two kinds of dialysis, hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis. I have a video here just to illustrate for you how dialysis works. Let's see that.
Your doctor may recommend dialysis, a procedure that removes waste products from your blood if your kidneys are not functioning properly. Healthy kidneys filter out waste, excess fluid, and electrolytes like potassium and sodium from the blood. These waste products exit the body through the urethra in the form of urine. If you have kidney disease, your kidneys gradually lose function, leading to an accumulation of harmful waste and excess fluid in your body, increased blood pressure, and bone or blood problems. Dialysis can also be done to treat acute kidney failure, which occurs when your kidneys stop working suddenly, or to remove drugs or poisons from your body. In one type of dialysis, called hemodialysis, your doctor will use a machine called a dialyzer to clean your blood outside your body. Some weeks or months before you begin hemodialysis, your doctor will prepare a vascular access site on your body. Your doctor will create either an arteriovenous graft or an arteriovenous fistula to access your bloodstream. To begin, he or she will numb the area with local anesthesia. To construct an arteriovenous graft, your surgeon will make a small incision in your forearm and insert a soft plastic tube called a graft to connect an artery to a vein. To create an arteriovenous fistula, your surgeon will make a small incision in your skin and connect an artery with a vein to make a larger vessel called a fistula. Once your vascular access site has healed, your doctor can start hemodialysis. To begin, your dialysis nurse will insert 2 needles into your AV fistula or graft. Once the circuit is set up, your blood will flow slowly out of your body and through the dialyzer. Inside the dialyzer, your blood will encounter filtering fibers and an absorbent cleaning solution called dialysate. The fibers will remove waste and excess fluids and electrolytes from your blood. Your cleaned blood will emerge from the dialyzer and continue through the tubing back into your body through the second needle at your access site. When your hemodialysis session is complete, the needles and tubing are removed, and you can go home. In another type of dialysis, your doctor will use the membranes lining your abdomen, called the peritoneum, to clean your blood without removing it from your body. Before you begin peritoneal dialysis, you will have an operation to implant a soft tube called a catheter. Your surgeon will insert the catheter near your belly button, creating a port through which the dialysate will enter and leave your abdomen. Each peritoneal dialysis session is called an exchange. First, you will use your catheter to fill your abdomen with dialysate for a period of time determined by your doctor. Through the peritoneal membrane, Waste products and extra fluid are continuously drawn out of your blood into the dialysate. Along with the waste materials it absorbed, the dialysate will drain out of your abdomen into a disposable collection bag during your exchange.
So you can see when the kidneys are not working anymore, you know, how medicine and technologies has managed to find a solution to that. So dialysis is just a way of cleaning your body differently. As you can imagine, it can be very expensive, and it's not, in the Congo, for example, when someone has a kidney failure, chronic, and we need to do dialysis, it almost means like a death sentence, because people are poor and they cannot afford paying for that. It's really expensive. So that's why it's very important to make sure that you take care of the kidneys very well by drinking water and having some health checkup to see if you don't have high blood pressure or diabetes. If you have these conditions, you need to make sure to treat them well. So this is really, really important.
How effective is dialysis compared to
Yeah, of course it's not as effective as the real kidneys, but if you do that, you live your life so well. I personally know someone in Japan here from the Congo who has a chronic kidney failure that been living for many years with dialysis. So just goes to the hospital and then have the session, clean the body. I'm not sure how frequently someone has to go, but they have to go frequently as the doctor schedules and cleans the body and go and continue working. And it works well, yeah. But ideally you have good kidneys. But if you do that, and if you're in a country where you have health insurance, like in Japan, then it's okay. But if you're in resource-limited countries and you don't have enough money, it really it means that it's not a good situation for you. Yeah. I begin to believe that you are now specialist, so we are moving to the ureters. Here it's going to be a little bit fast because the ureters are just after the urine is formed from the kidneys. Now we need to bring the urine outside. So the ureters are those very long tubes, leaving the kidneys and connecting to the bladder. Generally, it's 25 to 30 centimeter long and 6 millimeter in diameter, and it connects to the kidneys from the back, posterior side of the kidneys. And this is really what we need to understand. And from the kidneys, the urine flows by gravity, right? Because generally we stand up and the ureter is like this, so urine just flows by gravity most of the time. And sometimes you have what we call peristalsis. Peristalsis are very small movements of their muscles. Like the ureters have smooth muscles. So the muscles make some contractions, kind of very soft contractions. And they call it peristalsis. Another peristalsis movement is our bowel in the belly. It also makes peristalsis movement to push the contents forwards. They call it peristalsis. So this is how the urine will flow from the kidneys to the bladder. And this is the ureter. It just flows here up to the bladder. And it flows through gravity, as I said, and peristalsis, contraction of smooth muscles to push the urine. And then it goes to the bladder. The bladder is this kind of a sac where the urine is kept for a moment. What do you think would happen if we had no bladder?
Straight.
Yeah, so you spend all your life urinating, right? Yes. So this is what's going to happen. So, but we need to do other things, right? We need to work. We need to attend to other needs. So for that, your urine need to be kept somewhere for a while. During that time, you're doing any other thing you want or you have to do. So this is basically the function of the bladder. It's collecting the urine and it's keeping that there. And it's made of a muscle called the detrusor muscle, which has 3 layers. Too much details, but just for you to know. And most important, it has 3 openings, right? The 2 openings of the ureters, when it comes, it has 2 go inside. We have 2 ureters and 1 opening because it's have to continue with the urethra. So this is the bladder. This is one of the 2 openings out there, and up here, sorry. So it's come from the posterior side, and then 1 opening here. And very importantly, for you to know, is that we have sphincters, because here I'm talking about the bladder, and I'm also talking about the urethra directly. We have what we call sphincters. Sphincters are like doors, right? Controlling, yeah, kind of door, right, that is sphincter. So one is called the internal sphincter here, and the other is the external urethral sphincter. This is the urethra here. External urethral sphincter, internal here. This one here, we control it by our willing. Sometimes that you feel the needs of micturition, but you say, oh, not now, later, or 10 more minutes, you feel there is a need, but you control that. This one here, you cannot control it. Actually, when you start feeling the need, it's because this one here is already open. Yeah, this one is open, but the urine cannot go because this one is closed. It cannot go out. You are controlling that. And some people cannot control that. Babies, right? The babies cannot control that. So that's why babies will just wet the bed. So whenever they feel that they have to urinate, they urinate. They don't have the control of this sphincter here. As you can see, there is a muscle here, the urogenital diaphragm. Important, right? So when you understand this, then you're going to understand what we're going to talk about later, the process of voiding or micturition, how it works properly. We've already talked a little bit about the urethra here. This is the last part of the urinary system. It's a very small tubulus with 2 sphincters here. Internal sphincter, as I say, this is involuntarily, it's not under our voluntary control. And the external urethra here, which we can control. And their length, the location are different depending on if you are males or females, and the functions also mostly for urines, but for males, it's not. It's also the passage of the sperm cells. So these are just some of the details that you may need to learn at home. So what we're going to see briefly here is just the process of micturition, how it works, and just some funny pictures of kids saying who's had their highest floor or the longest micturition. It's very interesting. So what happened is that first micturition is the act of emptying the bladder for the urine to come out. There is two conditions. The two sphincters have to be open, right? So what happened is that when the urine is coming through the ureters from the kidneys, it accumulates in our bladder, and the bladder starts becoming full, filling, right? To a certain point, when it's stretched, it's reached a certain capacity, generally 200 milliliters. In that point, there are some receptors, they call them stretch receptor in the bladder. When it's stretched, the stretch receptors send a signal to the spinal cord to tell that the bladder is becoming full, we need to empty. And when the signals come back to the bladder, there is the opening of the internal sphincter. Then you start feeling the need of urinating. But up to that point, if you're an adult, you don't urinate because you can still control yourself. And at the same time, the bladder will continue to fill, but you can still control yourself. But it's reached a certain point, even if you are an adult, if you don't urinate, you may not be able to control. So it's going to be sending these signals over and over. So this is the micturition process, and I think there is a very small video here that we're going to watch very fast. How the process of micturations happens.
Neural control of urination, micturition reflex. When the bladder is full, stretch receptors in the wall of the bladder send nerve impulses to the sacral region of the spinal cord. By way of a parasympathetic response, signals return to the bladder and stimulate contraction of the muscle of the bladder and relaxation of the internal urethral sphincter. This part of the reflex is involuntary and is predominant in infants and young children. As the central nervous system matures, it acquires voluntary control over the external urethral sphincter. Urination is controlled mainly by the micturition center in the pons. This center receives sensory signals from the bladder and communicates with the cortex about the appropriateness of urinating at the moment. At times when it's not convenient to urinate, the center sends back an inhibitory signal to keep the sphincters closed and prevent voiding. When you wish to urinate, this inhibition is removed. The spinal cord instructs the muscle of the bladder to contract and the sphincters to open to let the urine out.
Okay, so that was just a brief illustration of how the process works. We're gonna go to the last part. Any questions so far?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Is there some negative feedback system in bladder which stops creating urine in kidney?
What kind of negative feedback? I don't understand. Like, which stop?
No.
For
It
example.
seems when I have many urine in bladder,
Yeah.
urine production
Yeah.
seems to be decreased.
Oh. From the kidneys.
Yes.
I think the kidneys continues to work. The kidneys will continue working, and that's why the urine still accumulates in the bladder. So there is no feedback to the kidneys itself. But at the point of the urine comes in the bladder, the feedback is in terms of your cortex on how to control whether you want to urinate now or later. But at the same time, the urine will continue flowing from the kidneys through the ureters. So that's why the feeling becomes higher and stronger because the urine continues coming and coming and coming. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, by the way. So we're going to see very, very briefly one of the function of their. We have already talked about it a lot, but this is just putting it together. How the urine, the kidneys maintain water balance and the composition of water in the blood. You know, we talked about many functions here, so that this is what we're going to see just rapidly. As you know, water is very important, right? We're made of water. You are probably 60% of you is water, and babies, it's even 75% of babies made of water somehow. So, meaning that water is a very important component of the human body, and in the human body, water is located mostly in two compartments. We call it the intracellular compartment and the extracellular compartment. Cellular is like the cell, right? So water inside the cell and water outside the cell, right? And actually, 40% of the 60% of the human water, which is in the body, 40% are in the inside the cells, and 20% are outside the cell. And outside the cell means either in the plasma here or between the cells. You know, so the cells kind of swim in a kind of gel. So this space is called the interstitial fluid. It's made of water. So most of the water outside the cell is in that compartment here, in the interstitial fluid here, and then the blood plasma, the vessels inside the plasma. And what also you need to know is that the movement from one compartment to the other depends on the composition, you know, of electrolytes and water. If there are too much water outside, some of the water will go inside the cells, you know, so that's why you learn about the process of osmosis and those kind of things, yeah, and the concentration of the electrolytes in the water. And another thing is that the sources of water, you know, most of the water that we need to keep our body for working, it's come from what we drink, water, and also water that we have from foods, you know, and very tiny compartment is water that we produce through metabolism. But most of the time it's water that we drink and water that we consume as part of the body. So this is the most inputs. For the outputs, we lose water through the lungs by respiration. We use tiny parts of the water. That's perspiration, like the skin, you know. As I said, in some old people were dying in Europe through perspiration. But most of the water that we lose would be through urine production. So this is also something very important to understand. And the kidneys will regulate the contents of their composition of their water through these two hormones. We have their antidiuretic hormones and the aldosterone. If you have time, because you don't really have much time left, but you may need to check that. Maybe just a point with the anti-diuretic hormone. This hormone is very important. As you can see, anti, it's mean against, right? So this hormone here prevents water loss. You know, as I told you that if you lose a lot of water through accident, blood loss, or diarrhea, the kidneys will secrete these hormones here and to stop working, and it will stop the production of the loss of water. So it's the anti-diuretic hormone, ADH. What is interesting is that alcohol blocks these hormones. That's why when you drink, you feel like urinating all the time, because alcohol will block it. And cold weather, when it's cold, this hormone also doesn't perform well. That's why when it's cold, people feel like urinating all the time, because it blocks this hormone. So these hormones prevent water loss. If you block it, you will feel like urinating. So, yeah, sure.
Do kidneys itself produce antidiuretic hormone?
It's produced by the hypothalamus. So it's it's kind of long mechanism. But the kidneys will send the signals actually. So there is this systems also they call aldosterone also produced through that. So if you have time, I would strongly recommend you to read about how it works specifically. It's a very interesting mechanism. The kidneys produce an hormone called, I think, renin.
Renin.
Yeah. And then renin goes to angiotensin 1, which is metabolized in the liver, I think, to angiotensin 2, and then it comes back to the kidneys to control the blood flow around their arterial, efferent and afferent. So it's a very long process actually. I guess there was a slide. Yeah, there was this slide that's it's really not included in their system here, but it's showing you the process itself, how it works from the release of renin from the kidneys, leads to angiotensin, and then what it's going to do in the blood level. So, any other question? You're a kidney specialist now.
When you have peritoneal dialysis, waste products will accumulate in your peritoneal cavity.
Yeah.
Does it harm our body?
It's a good question. I mean, I have an answer to you now if it's harms or what are the consequences of that in the future, but you may need to check that as well. I don't want to say anything stupid. It's still a good question. Yeah. But as I said, the idea is still this exchange, right? You know, exchange of solids through the peritoneal membrane. But whether or not this solids coming out will harm the peritoneal cavity, this is also a question. It's a homework to me. Let's find out. Yeah, I think that was it. So today you learned about the urine system, urinary system. You know what is made of, how it works, and then please make good use of that when Pila Sensei asks you a question later. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
to you. Okay, so anybody has questions about your quizzes or it's freezing, right? Too long. Everything's all right. So last time we had a question from Toriba-san about emphysema, and yes, you were right. Actually, it's a misspelling. Yes. Oh.
You want- This is my food, right?
Yes?
It's wet food?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's check.
Efficient.
Yes, it's actually inefficient. If you check this slide here, where is it? Because air is retained in the lungs, oxygen exchange is it should be inefficient. Okay?
But no cyanosis until late in the disease corresponds to efficient.
No cyanosis. Cyanosis, remember that it's when you have very low blood oxygenated. So probably it's a gradual process because at the beginning, what you have is the lung tissue will be less elastic, right? That's why when you want to exhale, you actually cannot do it properly. So you retain a lot of oxygen, but a lot of air. But that doesn't mean that the air is very oxygenated. So with time, it's more and more difficult to exhale the air. That's why your trunk, your chest becomes like a barrel, like increasing in size. I'm not sure exactly why I wrote at that time that cyanosis was coming later in the disease, probably with degrees of development with the disease. But I'm not very sure about that last part. But definitely, yes, it's very inefficient.
Inefficient?
Inefficient, yes. It's a misspell.
Oh.
Because remember that also you have, if you remember the alveoli, it's like these round shapes, right? But in this case, what you have is, if you have two, for example, two alveoli, now you will have only one because part of the septums of the walls will be destroyed. So you have less area also for exchange. And also in the layers itself, it's become like less elastic. So it's more difficult, the passage. Okay, so it makes more sense. Thank you very much. I've been dragging that mistake. Thank you. Okay, so everybody did very well on the third quiz. We'll have the last quiz then next week. Please don't be late. We only have one more class, right? Is that correct? We only have one more class. I think it's only one class and then the exam.
The exam is on 24th.
2,
Right. Yes.
July 3rd, 10th, and 18th, Tuesday.
Two.
Yeah.
Ah, it's moved.
There will be 3 more.
Oh, 3 more.
3 normal classes and 24th.
The final exam. Well, the exam is
Final
yes,
exam.
the day that it's scheduled. The exam is going to be here in the same room because I think some of the classes you check. Some of the classes for the final exam may change the rooms. Oh yes, we have a presentation, right, from Ms. Suzuki and your friend. He's aware, right, that he has to do presentation. Please make sure. That's July 3rd. We have digestive system and body metabolism, and one more July 10th, reproductive system, and then the exam, July 24th. Is that correct?
How about 18th?
I think there's no class for that day.
So there will be. Is
Have
there
you checked?
any like?
Yes, there is a calendar. You don't receive the calendar? Academic calendar?
Academic,
No.
I saw academic calendar in web.
Are you sure? 18th? You
18th.
mean? No, 17th is holiday.
And 18th is Monday schedule.
Yeah, you're kidding me. Are you serious? I'm gonna check my calendar, okay? Because I only have these two other additional classes. If we have to do then Tuesday, maybe we can do something like a review or something like that. I'll let you know on July 3rd. Are you sure? We have 18th instead of the 17th.
Yes.
Okay, I'll check my calendar, okay? Thank you guys.
You need your class, right?
Eh? Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you. You can go. It's 2 minutes already. Past the time. Hey, you're serious?
You were saying so. Rush.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very much.
All right. So
I'll see you.
see you there anytime.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
All right.
Thank you very much.